welcome to this week's Financial Literacy Lunch Bite, session 12. So this week's webinar, just to share a little bit, this is a weekly recurring webinar that happens every Wednesday and from 1:30 to 2. So do join me every Wednesday to join me on this lunch bite session. So each week we'll focus on one topic. I will share on the topic for this week in a little while. But first of all, I wanted to do things a little bit differently just for this week. I wanted to, before I start the session proper, I want to share a little bit. I'll do a little bit of a very small whiffles. So whiffles it stands for what I feel like saying. So essentially, it's just me sharing about what happened to me or rather what I'm thinking and feeling about for this past few days. So yeah, so it was very interesting for me to notice how I responded and reacted in the past few days. So what happened was for the past 3 to 4 days, I've had this migraine in me, and migraine is a common thing for me, as in like, well, I have migraine on and off. So the usual thing that I do with it is I'll take painkillers. But this time round, it sort of, I was actually a little bit alarmed because I took painkiller and it's very, very strong painkiller and it didn't work. So then I noticed that because of that pain, that migraine, and it's there at the top right hand corner of my brain, that migraine that is there. So and because of that, I begin to, because that migraine, that pain is so damn irritating. It is stopping me from doing a lot of things. It stopped me from focusing, the ability to focus on my work. So I wanted to get rid of it very badly. So then because of that pain, I begin to have a higher awareness to take note of what I am eating, what's my diet like. And I begin to, well, if you know me, I'm somebody who just eat who eat what I like whenever I like. But in this case, I actually became more conscious and forced myself to stick to that diet where I know it will help me to remove that migraine. Because a little bit of context here, that was because I took on that diet last year and it worked. It removed my migraine. So I went back to that diet, but it is because of the pain, of the migraine that is there, that forced me to take action. So then as I begin to think about it, I begin to relate it back to money. I begin to relate it back to how our actions, be it financial sense, be it migraine, or how we work towards goals, comes from moving away from pain or working towards a goal. Very interesting, right? So when I look at it, well, as I'm sharing, think about it in your own life as well, how it works for you. As much as I notice what is happening in my life, work towards increase the level of awareness that you have in your life, such that you notice what's going on. For me, I noticed that because I wanted to get rid of the pain so badly, because it's there and I wouldn't say it's haunting me, but it's stopping me from focusing on a lot of things. So because I wanted to get rid of it, I actually do something about it. Is that bad? So as humans generally, we move away. How we get motivation to do things is either we move away from pain, move away from fear, or we move towards a goal. And I will come back to this in the later part of the session. I'll link this back as well. So yeah, let me share my slides with you for this week. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Do you see it? Let me know whether you see it. Okay, let me share something. Give me a minute, because I'm not sure whether I'm clicking on the right thing. So this is the PowerPoint and this is the slide itself. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay, this is what I'm sharing. Okay, thank you. I want to welcome you to the Lunch Bite Proper after my sharing of what happened to me in the past few days, the migraine and the motivation to do things because of I want to get rid of the pain. So for those who are with me here for the first time, welcome. I want to share a little bit of the structure. So what I'll do is I'll share on the topic for the day, and I'll ask a lot of questions. Um, how I do the webinar is very different from others. The intention of asking questions is to trigger your thoughts in raising awareness how you are doing things in your own life. And also to my work is based on NLP, it's NLP based. So NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, where we look at patterns and programs that helps you to increase and improve efficiency and get to your goals, and remove and reduces programs and beliefs, not beliefs, but programs and patterns that helps you to get rid of things that you don't want, like for example, fear, anxiety, stuff like that. So that's what I do. And so along the way, I'll be asking a lot of very, very good questions. So the key thing is for you to relate to it, think about how you can apply that in your life, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Okay, so this is one slide that I always have at the beginning of all my webinar. So where we are at now is at point A, and where we are at point, or rather where we want to be, point B is where we want to get to. So along the way, we will face hurdles, adjustments. We'll go one round. We know where we want to go, but sometimes along the way, it may not be a straight line. It may be like this. So as we find our way along there, no, the key thing that I wanted to emphasize here is the ability to make adjustments. It's similar to, you know, the migraine story that I shared earlier about making adjustments, where I know that probably it's, and well, it's both making adjustments and experience as well. I have experienced it before. I know that I often have migraine, and I know that I have with me sticking to a specific diet, I am actually able to take control or get rid of that migraine altogether. So that's experience. Making adjustments is to adjust my diet accordingly, to go back to discipline myself to, you know, not necessarily just discipline, but to just allow myself to get myself to stick to that particular diet that helps me, right? So I want to share the topic for this week. The topic for this week is I'm going to look at the interpretation of money. And it's going to be very interesting. And remember, as I go along, as I ask questions, feel free to put in your feedback, comments, and, you know, on Facebook or on Zoom. If you're with me on Zoom, there's a chat box at the bottom. Put in your feedbacks, questions, comments. If you're with me on Facebook Live, then just key in the comments as well. I can't really look at it now, but I'll look at it after the session. So the topic for this week is interpretation of money. How do you interpret money? How you interpret money affects how you look at money. You know, essentially, it is about how we look at it. What does money mean to us? And I know this particular question, what does money mean to us, came up a few times, even in my previous webinar. And it's definitely the first question I asked in my Money Mindset series, because the impact of this question is so profound, so deep, and it's so wide, and it is never a one sentence answer. And the answer that you give to this particular question, what does money mean to you, it evolves over time as you get a greater awareness of what money means to you. It evolves, it changes, and how the significance of what it means to you will affect the way you spend, you save, you invest, you look at money, you retire, how basically it's, money is everywhere in our life. Money is sort of, it is not the most important thing in my life, but it is one of the things that I need to have lah, to survive, right? I mean, we're all practical people. So yeah, so today we are going to look at how we interpret money. So I already spoke a little bit about what does money mean to you. So at this point, I am going to pause 3 seconds for you to think about and to allow your thoughts to come up. Notice what are you thinking consciously, unconsciously, what comes up to you in your thoughts, in your feelings, what do you feel when we talk about money? And when the question is being asked, what does money mean to you? What comes to your mind? Right? So, there are reasons why I ask a lot of questions in my webinars. I explained earlier that it's meant to trigger thoughts. And there are also reasons why I ask the same question sometimes at different points, because it is meant to go deeper into the underlying thing that we want to look at. Issue, situation, anything that we want to look at, right? So think about it. What does money mean to you? If you can, well, you don't have to talk to me, you don't have to chat, you don't have to type it out. You can take a piece of paper and write down. Let it be a money journal. Okay, that's a very interesting thing. Okay, I'm going to write down as one of my tips. Do up a money journal. Yeah, it can be a money journal, how you feel about money, how we allow money to impact us. How we think is the result of our mindset beliefs, and that affects our actions as well, right? So specifically, okay, let's take a deeper look at money. Okay, so how do we interpret money? Specifically, let's look at $1,000. How much is $1,000 to you? How big is 1,000 to you? Of course, it means different things to different people, but how we interpret it is very, very different as well. So can you imagine 1,000 to someone who has $10,000? 1,000 is like what? 10%? If you look at the purple box, it's just a small, that reminds me of a slice of cake. You know how much I love eating. So it is, this 1,000, if you look at the picture, is only 10% of the 10,000. And to some people, 10% is a lot, right? But yet, to someone who has 100,000, what is 1,000 to them? It could mean a ripple. It may mean something, it may not mean something. So a lot of times, how we interpret money is based on our mindset, our beliefs, and also it's on how important it is to us based on what we have, right? So based on the example that I'm sharing, for someone who has $100,000, $1,000 may not be much, but to somebody who only has $1,000, $1,000, it means the whole world to them. It is everything that they have. So why do I want to show these 3 pie charts? Because it is different. It means different things to different people, and we interpret it differently as well. So it was very interesting because the other day, actually it's not the other day, it was a few months back. I went to this, it was a long time ago, a few months back. To me, it's a long time. I went to this networking session where I was talking to this lady. She's asking me about what I do. So I told her, oh, okay, I work with people on cash flow, I help them in the mindset beliefs. I'm a life coach who helps people in the area of cash flow. So she was like, wow, that's very interesting. So she asked me a very good question. She shared a little bit. She said that she has this bad habit of, she feels that it's a bad habit of, she says that she is a hoarder. Hoard, hoarder. So she hoards her money. She doesn't like spending, and she wants to see a lot of money in her bank account. And there's nothing wrong with that. For those who know me, you will know that there's no right or wrong way of spending money, no right or wrong way of managing your money as well. How you do it is how you choose to live your life, and I have no judgment whatsoever. So it's very interesting. So she shared with me. She's like that. is there anything wrong with that? And what can she do about it? So then I explained to her my philosophy about, you know, how there's no right or wrong in spending money. And then she added something. She said, yeah, it even went to the extent of that, where she doesn't even pay back money that she owe, even if it's just, you know, $10 for a meal. She has the money, she earns lots of money. But even if it's just $10 to pay back, you know, sometimes when you go for meal with other people, they pay first, so you have to pay them back subsequently. So is that half of the meal that you have consumed? She even takes a long time to pay it back. And she was wondering what is wrong with her. How did that come about? So then I was telling her, and a little bit of sidetrack here as well, that it's bad karma to owe people money. That's my belief, because you don't want people to owe you money. So in the same way, when if you know you owe people money, please, as much as you can within your ability, return them as early as possible, as much as you can. So back to that story with that lady. So she was saying, yeah, she even chooses to do that. So she to, you know, delay payment on her share of the meal, even though she has consumed it, and she has this reluctance of spending money. So then I explained to her that money means different things to different people, and everyone is wired differently, such that, well, I don't have a specific answer for her. But if she wants my opinion based on the people that I work with, the many money conversations that I have, I'll tell her generally is out of not having enough, the fear of not having enough, not being good enough, but not having enough money, the scarcity mindset, and, you know, a little bit of a lack mentality. So, well, that's on a generic sense. So how we interpret money goes back to our mindset and beliefs. So I've shared this earlier, and earlier as in last week's session. But essentially, money is a medium of exchange. It's a bartering system. So if you look at the picture, it's in the natives, and they're exchanging chicken for apple. How would they know how much? I don't know whether it's vegetables or apples, but I'm going to assume it's apple for the sake of argument. So how would they know how many apples to exchange for one chicken? So the meaning of how many apples is worth to one, to that person that's holding the chicken, is the equivalent of how many apples is the equivalent of one chicken, is dependent on how they interpret the worth, the value of that chicken to be, right? And it's as simple as that. What is money? Money in currency terms is just a note. And what is a note? Essentially, a note is a note is just a piece of paper, right? So I want to move on to talk a little bit about facts and stories that we tell ourselves with regards to money. So what is a fact? A fact is that a $10 note is a piece of paper. That's a fact, right? So what is a fact? A fact is that $10, I can use that $10 to buy a McDonald's meal. And that is a fact itself, because that's something that can be done, right? So, but what is a story? So how do we interpret that $10? Okay, some people may think, okay, at this $10, I can use it to buy a McDonald's meal. Then the story comes out, you know, oh, that is my that McDonald's meal is my lunch for the day. It is my main meal for the day. So that because of that $10 is precious. And, you know, the story that we tell ourselves is, oh, I cannot afford to give the $10 maybe to the auntie that's selling tissue, auntie or uncle that's selling tissue, because that $10 is, I need that $10 for the meal. These are stories that we tell ourselves. So how we interpret the worth, the value of that $10 is based on the stories that we tell ourselves, you know? So when we begin to differentiate and segregate fact from story, then it's another thing altogether to allow ourselves to have the awareness that, you know, okay, money is just a piece of paper, it's just a currency of exchange, it stems from the bartering system. So the fact is money is just a piece of paper to exchange for things that we want. So when we start to tell ourselves, make up stories in our mind, you know, we make up stories about what that $10 can do, what that $1,000 can do, or 10,000, then if I have, you know, some people tell themselves, if they have maybe 1 million in the bank, they'll be happy. Is that true? So my question to you is that true? Is that a fact, or is that a story that people make up? Does $1 million equals to happiness? It's not. That is not a fact. That's a story. The fact is $1 million is just $1 million is the back in the bank. It's just paper that, you know, if you choose to withdraw that 1 million, it's just bundles of paper that they'll give it to you. Those are facts. So we begin to make up stories about money that we have in our lives, and we begin to make up stories on how we deal with money and how important and how we manage money in our lives. So I want to move on to ask to drop these questions into your mind. Look at what came up, what comes up for you. So one of the questions that I want to start to ask is, what is the significance you put on money? Think about it. We are talking about interpretation of money. So what is the significance you put on money in your life? Is it something that you use? You know, I believe that energy attracts, and I also believe, for me, my personal belief, money is a form of energy exchange, where you know, it is the worth. I use it to represent the energy exchange with another person. So, and again, for everybody is different. So think about what is the significance you put on money. And is money a topic that you can speak freely with people you trust? You know, one of my mentors said, you know, when you talk to yourself in your head, you're always right, because there's only you, right? So when you begin to talk to people, of course, people that you trust. Why do I say that people that you trust? Because money is a very private and confidential, and it is a very sensitive topic to a lot of people. And going back to the interpretation of money, that is why, that is also because of the significance that they put on money, you know, and how people in general look at money. And people may feel that, you know, for those who earn 10,000 a month, generally people who don't earn 10,000 a month will feel that, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, but then that's because they put a lot of significance on the $10,000. But, you know, to different people it's different. For me, 10,000 is not a lot. Even if you tell me that you earn 1 million a month, then I would be like, okay, so yeah, not that it's not important to me, but it's because that I don't, the value, the worth of the person is not based on how much the person earns. And yeah, that's a separate topic for another day. So coming back to this, is money a topic that you can speak freely with people you trust, right? Do you have good money conversations with people around you? When I say good, I'm referring to honest, forthcoming, no reservation, heart-to-heart conversations about money, especially with your spouse, with your family members, and with your children. You know, it's about, part of it is about passing down values to your children, and part of it is the communication part that is so important, because when there are differing values, I've seen this before, when there are differing money values, different ways of managing money in a family, more often than not, money is differences in money values, beliefs, and management of it will break up a family. Yeah, that's what I've seen. So which is why I emphasize that family conversations about money is very, very important. So if you don't have good conversations, don't have heart-to-heart conversations about money, well, look for someone, or come talk to me if you know me. personally, or you can reach out to me. We can chat about it, right? So it is something that when you talk to people, it will help you to move on in your life, and it will help you to have a different perspective of looking at it. See, the part where I shared about there's no right or wrong way of spending money is something that blows a lot of people's mind. I still remember there's this client which I spoke to, and I was sharing this with him, and he was like, wow. Because of that, because of this understanding that there is no right or wrong way of spending money, and there is no, however you spend now, the rationale being however you spend now is an action, is the behavior which leads to a certain results. So if you want to shift the results that you get, then you just shift the behaviors and actions. And from how you shift behaviors and actions to shifting of values and beliefs. And it's as simple as that. So with that, when I shared that with the client, then he had that aha moment, and then he stopped beating himself up because he got it. He really got it that it is an action. It is not about living up to someone else's expectations of what you should do or should not do, but it's about, knowing what they want in their lives, what results they want to create, and they work towards that based on what they do, right? So coming back, do you have good money conversations? And are you able to share your money thoughts freely and without judgment to people, to friends that you trust? Again, I must emphasize it's to people that you trust. So yeah, I'm checking the time. It's 1:57. I want to keep to the 30 minutes window just so that, people who are here with me during lunchtime can go back to work on time. So yeah, so these are the questions that I will ask. Notice what comes up. And if you are doing, if you have a money journal, then write down what you feel and come back and review you when you look at it like 6 months down the road or 3 months down the road, then you see how you have evolved. And that's important, how we have grown, right? So yeah, so for those who are online with me right now on Zoom, thank you for being here. Thank you for registering. Thank you for being here. I have this template where you can fill out who are the people that you can have money conversations with. Choose 3 people. Think of 3 people that you can have honest and non-judgmental money conversations with. Write them down and reach out to them and ask, hey, do you want to go for coffee? Do you want to go for tea? And it's important to have conversations with people because they trigger your thoughts, they expand your reality box, but choose the right people. Yeah, choose people that you can trust. So the community that you have around you is very, very important. There's this saying that says that you are made up of 5 or 10 people around that you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with the right people. Yep. So I will send this template to you for those who are registered with me right now. So for those who are with me on Zoom, and for those who are watching me live on Facebook, thank you. If you can private message me or you can comment, send me your email and I will send this to you as well. This template to you, or you can just take a piece of paper and write down. The reason I do it up nicely is just so that you can print it, keep it, and come back to it next time, right? Just write down 3 names of 3 persons that you can have money conversations with. That's right.